Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the notification gang, hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, the channel donations, and the Patreon family. We are working. Now, the talk of the boxing world is Conor McGregor. He came over, lost to Floyd Mayweather, did better than some people thought. But namely today, there's a doctor that spoke out who's a ringside physician, and he has years in the. First of all, to become a doctor, you have years of schooling. We all know that. They're not just giving out doctorates and allowing people to be doctors with minimal training. It doesn't work like, it's not like getting a job at Taco Bell or something. So there's a doctor that spoke out and gave his honest opinion of the situation. I will link in the description. There's an interview on tonic.vice.com, and the title says Conor McGregor wasn't fatigued. He was at risk of brain damage, right? Of brain damage. And basically the doctor maintains in this article, I'm going to paraphrase, he's part of the Association of Ringside Physicians, ARP I think is the acronym, and he says he's perfectly fine with Robert Byrd's stoppage of the fight in the 10th round. And I know McGregor, he's basically saying that I know McGregor didn't approve of it and said he wasn't damaged, but he's saying the symptoms that McGregor was experiencing are not indicative of somebody who's just merely fatigued. He says dizziness and loss of balance and equilibrium and stuff. He said that's actually mild brain damage, like too much blunt force trauma, which creates those episodes. And had it been allowed to go on, it could have been a lot worse. That's basically what he's saying. So it was definitely an interesting read. He's breaking it down. He says it's chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I don't know how to say this shit. I'm not a doctor. But he's basically saying all the symptoms. And the doctor said, I'll read a direct quote. He says, as an Irishman and self-admitted McGregor fan, I would like to believe Conor McGregor, referring to when he says he wasn't damaged. He says, but as a physician and former ringside doctor, I believe the fight was stopped for his own safety. Robert Byrd did an excellent job by stopping the fight when he did, as I'm certain the ringside physician and all members of ARP would agree. Right? And he said he's risking his future by continuing. You know what I mean? Smaller gloves. You can't prevent the punches from coming. You're tired. He's basically, like I said, he's basically saying all the symptoms he has is someone who has a concussion. That's literally what he's saying in there. He's saying these are the symptoms of someone who's has light brain trauma. You know what I mean? And had it been allowed to go on, it could have got a whole lot worse. Now, 50 Cent, Conor McGregor called him a bitch. He says 50 Cent is a bitch at the New York press stop for the press tour for Mayweather McGregor. So he just posted the link to the article, and it says, Dr. Conor McGregor suffered mild traumatic brain injury and TKO loss to Floyd Mayweather. And he just posted the article, and his comment says, LOL. Damn, boy. You gotta do something, baby. Your brain fucked up, nigga. So he's poking a little bit of fun at a guy who insulted him. But I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, this is truly not a laughing matter in the sense of, I mean, this is somebody's life. You know what I mean? And obviously, I think most people believe that Conor McGregor, he's, you know what I mean, it's not like they said he's brain dead or he's a vegetable. So I mean, 50's poking fun at him for that reason. I mean, I think he'll fight again. He'll be cleared to fight again. He'll have to serve a Nevada State Athletic Commission suspension because he did take a lot of punishment. And I told you guys in January, this was not going to be a good year for a lot of you guys. And God damn it, I feel that has been very, very apparent. You know what I mean? it's like it's getting crazy. I'm actually surprised that it's working out so well for the truth seekers and the truth speakers, the people who just really want to talk boxing, nothing gay shit and talking about dicks and all that and fanboyism, just real boxing talk, you know what I mean? And it's just getting too easy because everything that you guys try to stubbornly cling to is getting blown to smithereens by other fighters, trainers, stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's like nobody believes you. You need more people, and you see that crowd is almost evaporating. They're becoming extinct, just saying crazy shit. You used to be able to do all that type of stuff, just make a video and make a million excuses. But look at what people are saying about Skip Bayless. They're like, man, he sounds like a lunatic, he sounds crazy for saying that Conor was gonna knock Floyd out and then switching and say it's always an excuse. It's always a changing of stories. First you said Floyd's never dealt with anyone with his youth and awkwardness and power, and he's a southpaw and he's gonna knock Floyd out, so you shouldn't have to change your story. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is none of that happened. We didn't really see Floyd badly hurt in there, you know what I mean? And none of that came true. Now you have to say, oh, Floyd was putting his head in Conor's chest, and Conor was robbed of an opportunity to knock Floyd out in the 9th from a quote-unquote body shot. It's just, it looks pathetic, you know what I mean? All these things, people trying to cling on that it was a, you see, I know, I've been in the game for a while, and what happens is the casuals, what they try to do is they hear what Skip Bayless is saying, or let's say another YouTuber who likes to say the dumb shit, like when Andre Ward beat Sergey Kovalev in the rematch after they said Ward would get knocked out in the first fight. That didn't happen. Said he would get knocked out in the second fight. That didn't happen. So they want to stubbornly cling to something to make their savior, or the fighter that they're pulling for, look good, and ultimately it's to save face, because at the end of the day they talked this fighter up. They said Kovalev would knock out Andre Ward. They said Conor McGregor would knock out Floyd Mayweather in 1 or 2 rounds, and Mayweather's skull was too small, and Floyd hasn't dealt with the southpaw with his size and power, and he couldn't hurt Conor McGregor because Mayweather has brittle hands and he's 40, and when's the last time he had a knockout, and Conor takes shin bones and kicks to the head, so how can he not take Floyd? And like I said, all these dumb arguments, in the end you look dumb, because you have ringside physicians, doctors, retired doctors, professionals, even people in the MMA like Brendan Schaub, Joe Rogan are on record admitting that the stoppage was fine, that it needed to be stopped. So like I said, new media, all the people, January, told you it wasn't going to be a good year. All the people saying the contrary. I mean, your ship is sinking very quickly. You know what I mean? You have like doctors who have been in the industry who are saying, you know what, the symptoms he was suffering wasn't merely from fatigue, which is true. You know what I'm saying? Because like, actually, if you really think about what the doctor's saying, when's the last time I've been tired as hell? Like, if you ever ran a couple miles, or you were out in the heat. One time I was out in the heat and I rode a bike and stuff like that, and I felt pretty bad. I was tired and stuff like that. But unless you're diving into the realm of like dehydration and being concussed and things like that, having a concussion, that's when, and it's not just you're merely fatigued. Anybody, you know what I mean? I've left the gym fatigued, but I don't feel like dizzy, and I don't feel like I'm gonna pass out, and I'm not like losing my balance as I'm going to my car. You know what I'm saying? So if that is the case, then there's usually something else wrong with you. Like I said, like you're dehydrated, or like if it's a contact sport like the Mayweather-McGregor fight, you have a concussion. So a lot of you guys don't have a leg to stand on, and it's looking pathetic that you even try to argue this stuff. Oh, it's a premature stoppage. And then you have doctors and Joe Rogan and all these other people who were pulling for Conor McGregor who are saying, nah, that was a rightful stoppage. You know what I mean? Even Conor McGregor, I mean, like I said, they just go off of what, because he's a fighter. You got to understand that. Fighters are fighters. And there's only a select few, and I could probably count on one hand, of fighters who got whooped in a fight and admitted it and didn't make any excuses. Like Chris Arreola, he's one of them. Like when Deontay Wilder beat him, he's like, man, Deontay Wilder kicked my ass. Good job, bro. You know what I mean? But Chris Arreola he's rare. He's always been like candid and uncut. Him and Brandon Rios and people like that. Brandon Rios has admitted, like, man, Tim Bradley, that was a good ass body shot, because that's who they are. You know what I mean? They're real ass dudes from LA area and stuff like that. But by and large, most fighters aren't going to do that. They're going to be like, especially if the crowd is saying it, you know what I mean? They're, oh, I want to put me on my back. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it was a premature stoppage. Oh, it was a low blow stop. Of course, they're going to just, like I said, most fighters don't want to swallow pride and be like, hey, this 40-year-old who has brittle hands that I said I would knock out within 2 rounds, 4 rounds max, he kicked my ass and knocked me out. You know what I mean? So of course they're gonna look for something to change the tone. Like, hey, he didn't knock me out though. I mean, he did knock you out. It's a that's what a TKO stands for, technical knockout. You know what I'm saying? And then now those arguments are growing smaller and they have less momentum when you have doctors who are saying he's showing all the signs that not of fatigue. And I'm a fan of Conor and I'm Irish myself, but it was worse than that. He was suffering from light brain trauma, and it could have been worse. You know what I mean? Your brain starts to swell. You can get a brain bleed, just like Daniel Franco and stuff like that, who's now recovering. This is no, especially if for like a guy like Conor McGregor, you're not a boxer by trade. You know what I mean? You're a fighter. That's why the fight was allowed to happen and be sanctioned. But when you're in danger like that, it's clear you don't know what to do, because the UFC is different. You know what I mean? You see different things and different things happen. Like in the UFC, you can get knocked down to the canvas and then get back up and keep fighting. You don't have to wait for a count, right? You can punch someone when they're on the mat. Boxing is different. You can't. Roy Jones got disqualified for beating Montel Griffin's ass and hitting him while he was down. Right? So it's just a different sport, and to me it's very clear that had Robert Byrd jumped in at that moment, Conor had nothing left. He was zapped. He was done for. And to me, I really don't think he has the boxing prowess and the experience level to have made it out of there for 2 more rounds, especially if you really break it down from not a biased fanboy standpoint, but a realistic set of lenses. You notice he looked like that in round 9. So that's probably why, that's another reason why I got stopped without a count and all that, because the body language in round 9 wasn't good, and then it was a continuation of that. So you look at Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan, similar situation, but the only difference is that fight had knockdowns. But the situation was Kenny Bayless seen Amir Khan get dropped, get back up. He was badly hurt, made it out of the round, kind of saved by the bell. And in round 4, he got dropped a couple more times, and he still looked out of shape. Amir Khan was on his feet when Kenny Bayless was like, nah, because he obviously seen something in the guy's eyes, and it just wasn't looking good. So that's the referee's discretion. And if you look like that for 2 consecutive rounds, you know what I mean, where round 9 is a terrible round for you, and then it looks like you're a dead man, and then 10 you look even worse and you're getting hit with big shots up top, it's gonna get stopped. You have to know that. So if you don't know how to clinch, take a knee, run for cover like Keith Thurman did, Luis Collazo, then that's your own bad, to be honest. So the ref's in there to protect you. I think this is a pretty solid case closed at this point. All the people, new media is killing your boys. All the people who say, oh, premature stoppage. I mean, you got doctors who are saying, hey, I'm Irish. I want to believe Conor, but that's not the case. He was suffering from brain trauma, which could have been worse. It could have turned into a brain bleed or something had he not been pulled out of there. And that's the thing with the human body. It don't matter how tough you are. You can be tough as hell. Angulo is tough, but I guarantee you that shit Edeslani Lada was hitting him with was hurting. And even though he wasn't like getting knocked down and all this and spilling over, his body is still showing the signs when he had that giant swelling and that hematoma on his face. Like, his forehead looked like he looked like an alien. You know what I mean? So no matter how tough you are, your body's still gonna do what it thinks it should be doing, which is respond to pain, no matter how tough you are and how much heart you have. So Conor was big, and that's the other thing I keep trying to tell people. Conor's big. Imagine if Conor fought Floyd, like let's say he fought Jose Aldo at 145, and then this fight took place at 147. Conor would have to kill himself even more to make weight. You know what I mean? He was looking like a skeleton in the UFC. If it would have happened at 147, it would have been a massacre, because Floyd has minimal fights. He has like 2.5 fights at 54 before the Conor McGregor fight, and he was off the couch 2 years. You know what I mean? 147 is Conor wouldn't have had this. He would have had a height advantage, but he wouldn't have probably rehydrated to whatever he rehydrated. He looked huge on the night. So imagine if this fight would have happened at 147, it would have been way worse. You know what I mean? Maybe Floyd might have even been a little bit faster, 8-ounce gloves at the 147-pound division. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's there to protect the fighter. Let me know your thoughts. Doctor gave his assessment, and he said Conor was showing the signs of brain trauma, which is never a good thing. And especially, like I said, you don't have a boxing pedigree. You don't know what to do in those moments. Let me know your thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.